Oh, what happened? Why am I not going live? No. Hi. And I think we are live on Instagram and we're currently live on Facebook. Perfect.
Okay.
Hi, welcome with Live with Liz on this very special Live with Liz on Valentine's Day. And Jen, I was just telling you, I think today, being that it's Live with Liz Wednesday, it's Valentine's Day, it's Ash Wednesday on a leap year, and it's hump day.
Oh.
You know, middle of the week, hump, we're getting home. So I just think today is going to be a really great, fun Live with Liz. Happy Valentine's Day, everybody. Today, our guest is Jen Seyfert with Escrow Advantage. She's such a good friend of mine, a longtime escrow officer out here in the Santa Clarita Valley. Welcome, Jen.
Thank you, Liz.
Yes, of course. So Jen, tell us a little bit more about you and what you do and how long you've been out here in the Santa Clarita Valley.
Oh, I believe my parents moved out here when I was about 2. So I've been here since the very early 80s.
Okay.
Grew up out here, went to high school, junior high school, graduated from Hart in 2000. So I've been here a long time. I raised my son here, a 10-year-old named Axel.
Mm-hmm.
Been in escrow for about 20 years now.
Wow.
And yeah, I love it.
That's amazing. Okay, so Jen, escrow can be used as an adjective. It can be used as a verb. So tell us, what is escrow? Like, I feel like a lot of people don't really know. They might know the concept of it. They know what escrow does, but like, how would you explain escrow?
I would explain escrow as a neutral third party in a real estate transaction. We work for the buyer and we work for the seller. We do not work for the real estate agents, the lenders, the title companies. We strictly are there to make sure that the purchase contract is followed before any funds are transferred or deeds are recorded.
Got it. Perfect. And we kind of were talking about it earlier. We're kind of like in this funky real estate market. Interest rates are high.
Yes.
We still have low inventory, but homes that are priced well and show well are still getting multiple offers. What specific challenges are you experiencing as an escrow officer in today's market?
The biggest challenge right now that we're facing is insurance issues between homeowners insurance in California and condos and townhomes in our area not having a sufficient insurance for financing purposes.
Right.
So that's really what we're coming up against. The biggest insurer I think right now in California is California Fair Plan, and their policies can take up to 3 weeks to write. So that really can delay closings.
Right.
It's expensive.
It's expensive. And is one of the reasons why we always suggest to any buyer that's entering a real estate transaction, if you're going to look to purchase something, one of the very first things you need to do right after your offer becomes accepted is start shopping for your insurance. And you're likely going to get a California Fair Plan policy. So you're going to need time to get that processed. So it's best to start shopping for your insurance right away and, just kind of get started before things get stressful in the real estate transaction.
Right. And oftentimes with California Fair Plan, the problem you run into is that in order for them to bind the policy, they need a partial payment or a payment in full.
Wow.
So what that means is once that effective date is set on your policy, it cannot be changed. So there is no moving the close of escrow date, changing it at that point. So it really, puts you on a strict timeline.
Right. Yes. I mean, it's so important to stay on task, especially when it comes to your timelines in the contract, but more so now that insurance is such a challenge in California.
Yes, definitely.
Okay. So let's move on to our next question. We have a lot of first-time home buyers, a lot of first-time home sellers out there. What advice would you give first-time home buyers and first-time home sellers regarding the escrow process?
Let's talk about sellers first.
Okay.
The biggest challenge I see with sellers as we open escrow is most of our communities out here are part of an HOA. Sometimes there are 2.
Mm-hmm.
I would say most of the HOAs out here require an upfront payment in order to release the documents, which is a requirement on the purchase contract. So even if you've kept every document your homeowners association has sent you for the entire time you've owned the property, we cannot accept those and give them to the buyer. So the homeowners associations really do charge anywhere from at a very low $380, upwards of $1,300 to release those documents. And that does need to be paid at the time we open escrow. The reason is your purchase contract typically gives you 7 days, calendar days, to get disclosures to your buyer.
Yeah.
California law gives the homeowners associations 10 business days to provide the documents, so you end up paying a rush fee. So it's really important that you are aware that that's a cost that has to be taken care of day 1 or 2 when you open escrow.
I love that advice, Jen, because there are times, and then there are times where the lender needs the escrow documents and needs, I'm sorry, not the escrow documents, the HOA documents,
right?
And the HOA financials and the HOA cert. So it's better for the seller to understand that that has to get ordered right away, because it's also going to enable the buyer to move the process forward in a timely manner, and it without causing any delays from the lender side.
Yeah.
Now, first-time home buyers, what advice would you give them as they enter escrow?
Be careful. Wire fraud is on the rise, as it has been, and the people trying to steal your money are getting smarter and smarter.
Yes.
One thing we've seen, not to scare anybody, but they're going after your emails. If you have a Gmail, Hotmail, Yahoo, anything, those are very easy to compromise from what I've heard. And what happens is they're watching your emails and they try to slide in. So when you open escrow, I would get the phone number from your escrow officer directly from your real estate agent. Do not depend on an email. Call them directly. They should be calling you directly. They should not be emailing you wire instructions unless they are on the phone with you as you're receiving them. I would recommend saving the wire instructions from your deposit on your phone, on your computer, somewhere where you can go back and reference them. It is very unlikely for an escrow company to change account information or banks in the middle of a transaction.
That is so true.
And one other thing to look out for, if you do get a spammed email, it'll usually tell you that your escrow officer is too busy to talk to you, will only communicate by email, and their account information has changed. I can say this with the most confidence that any escrow officer you work with in the Santa Clarita Valley is never going to tell you that they are too busy to talk to you. We are a small, tight-knit community, and we care about our clients out here.
Yeah.
So those are huge red flags. Just communicate, be willing to talk to your escrow officer on the phone. Don't rely on emails. If an email looks weird, it probably is weird, and you should follow up with a phone call.
Absolutely. I tell every single buyer and seller, for that matter, that I'm currently working with, is, we're never, ever, ever, ever going to ask you for money. Like, your real estate agent is never going to ask you for money. Your lender's likely never going to ask you for money unless you're paying for the appraisal. And at that point, your lender's on the phone with you, getting your credit card information. So be wary of any emails or text messages that you receive requesting money from you. It's likely not coming from your real estate agent, your escrow officer, or your lender. And you should always check before you do anything, give out any, account information or send any money anywhere. Check in with your agent first, or with your lender, or with your escrow officer. Like Jen said, we're so lucky in the Santa Clarita Valley. We have such great real estate professionals from every part of the transaction that will talk to you, that will guide you. And certainly I'm always available. I know Jen always is.
Always.
As well.
One more thing for sellers too.
Yes.
If you change your proceeds instructions and you want to wire, don't email that information. Don't ever email your bank account information. There is no secure way to email that. So pick up the phone call, stop by the office. Always happy to see you to keep your money safe.
I love it. I love it. One of the things that I actually wanted to talk about, both with sellers and buyers in any real estate transaction, is that statement of information.
Okay.
Yes, because I have, sometimes walked my clients through filling out the statement of information, and they're like, why do we have to fill out everything? Like, that document has social security numbers, history of employment, history of residences. Why is the statement of information so important, Jen?
Because the title company uses that document to verify that you don't have any liens or judgments that are against you that are going to, if you're the seller, that need to be paid off with proceeds that haven't recorded against the property, or if you're a buyer, that are not going to encumber your property after the title company issues the policy of title insurance that the lender is requiring.
Yeah.
So it's just to make sure you don't have anything that's floating around that needs to be paid off.
Right.
Typically, in my experience, it's very rare for it to show up against a buyer where a lender isn't aware of it already and requiring payment of it. Sellers, it happens more often, usually child support judgments, liens, judgments, unsecured tax liens. If you didn't pay the registration on your boat, that becomes an unsecured tax lien against you. So pay your bills.
Yeah,
that'll help.
Also, like if you just have like a super common name like John Smith.
Oh yeah,
there could be 500 John Smiths in the city of Santa Clarita, and 2 of them have a child support lien against them, but you're not that John Smith. The statement of information with all of your information helps title, cross check that information and ensure that you're not that person that has that lien because you have a super common name, or Maria Lopez, or something like that.
Right. And it's really important to do it in the beginning of the transaction, because if you were a seller and you have an IRS lien against you, those take 15 business days for them to process. And in a 30-day transaction, 15 business days is not very long. So it's very important that you fill out that document, pretty much all the documents you receive. Once you get them back in a couple of days. It helps the entire process flow.
This is a perfect segue to talk about how you as an escrow officer prioritize confidentiality, the security of clients' information, and all that good stuff.
Yes, so we have a secure escrow system where all of our documents are securely saved. We do not email any personal information. We will send an SI to title securely to review, but the biggest thing I think years ago was emailing loan documents to lenders, because that has every piece of personal information a buyer could be have for a buyer. And now most lenders have portals that you send them to, but if they don't, we do have a secure way to send them through my office, and I think every escrow company does now.
That's awesome. Thank you, Jen. And finally, Jen, like I said, we're in this very special market. I love it. I think it puts our skills to the test, certainly. What are some trends that you're seeing out there that, that people are maybe not so aware that, is currently a trend in the real estate industry or in the escrow industry?
I'm not sure if it's a trend, but we're seeing more files with divorce, more files with death, probate files. Those are really on the uptick, I think, at any time the market shifts. We're not seeing very many refinances right now, which obviously the interest rates are so high, and pretty sure everybody refied between 2020 and 2021.
Right.
I do think hopefully once interest rates do drop a bit, we'll see a little bit of a shift in the refinance market for the people who bought at 8%. They'll probably want to lower that payment.
Right.
I think that's it. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the trend is right now we saw a little bit of a break in interest rates, ending at the end of 2023. And I think that's like reinvigorated the real estate market. I see, more people out there looking. There certainly are. Yesterday, I checked our listings. We yesterday had over 300 active listings, which we haven't seen in a long time, you guys. So there's more inventory out there. If you're on the fence, it's time to get out there, have the conversation with me or your preferred lender. And if you're thinking about selling, we're still very under supply. And it's still a great time to sell if you're thinking about it. Jen, any last thoughts? Anything that you want to share with us?
My normal buyers, be careful.
Yes.
It's so scary out there for you guys.
It can be.
You have to be protective of yourself and proactive.
For sure. Thank you so much, Jen, for joining me on Live with Liz. It looks like we have a comment. You both look very pretty. Thank you so much, Christian. Happy Valentine's Day. And I think we are all done here. Please let us know if you have any questions. You know how to reach me, Real Estate Liz, on all the Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all the things. And Jen, how can someone reach you?
You can find me on our website, escrowadvantage.com, and I'm always at the office.
Yeah, no, you really are. I used to walk into your office just to ask you escrow questions. Anytime. So thank you so much. All right. Thank you guys. Have a great Valentine's Day, and we'll see you on the next Live with Liz. Bye.